everyone, and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where every week we take a random prompt and build an entire world around it. My name is Casey, and as always, I'm joined with Isaac.
Hello! So today, we're doing something a little bit different than just world building, but primarily story building. Because I thought of an idea earlier, and I said, I want to create the next Pixar movie. And I thought of the idea of a bird that can't fly, because I was thinking of our previous one that used a bird that couldn't fly. We're doing that again! And so we got a bird that can't fly, probably a city bird, and then he flies by using a paper airplane.
I'm sorry?
He flies using a paper airplane.
How big is this bird?
I'm thinking like maybe a sparrow or something.
Okay, that's a bit more believable.
Yeah, he gets onto his paper airplane. And actually, I was thinking maybe he can't fly. Maybe his wings are injured or something. And the doctor bird says no more flying. And then he sees some kids that are using paper airplanes out in the park. And one of them lands on top of a roof that he's on. And then he says, oh, I'm going to try something stupid, as his very cowardly, quirky friend is sitting there on the roof with him saying, no, don't do it. And then he goes and he braves the wind and he starts gliding on this paper airplane and then probably crashes into a tree. But then he keeps on trying, he keeps persevering.
I love how you just combined planes and Ratatouille.
I mean, I was thinking of Samwise for some reason.
Well, you said Pixar, so that moment happens in Ratatouille where he's like putting seasoning and his friend is sitting there like,
oh, that's
you shouldn't
true.
be doing this.
Yes. Yep.
That's the Pixar movie equivalent.
Yeah, doesn't this feel very Pixar?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the plane would get like imbued with some magical property that would allow it to
maybe.
not
I mean, I don't know if we need
crumble.
magic for this. We can just say cartoon logic and Bird is able to fly using paper airplane.
I feel like there's Pixar stretches your sense of disbelief, but I don't think it can do it that extreme.
The rat pulled on a guy's hair to control his limbs.
Yeah, but paper and water, or literally anything, equals death to paper.
Where's the water coming in?
I don't know. Look, he's flying an airplane outside. What, does he have a garage for it?
Well, no, I was thinking that what happened was maybe some kids were like throwing paper airplanes and then one of them just landed on a rooftop. And so he got on it and decided to try it.
Well, isn't this like the whole plot of the movie though? So like him and his paper airplane, like he's got that, it's gonna get exposed to water at some point.
So maybe he learns to make paper airplanes.
So a bird with broken wings is going to now get into origami.
Well, maybe I'm thinking that maybe the wings aren't totally broken. Maybe they were broken at one point. They were injured, but then he heals to a point where he is able to still use them to make paper airplanes and stuff. But he's not allowed to fly.
I can just see the caption to this movie. This movie now. He's like, he may no longer be able to fly, but he makes some good origami.
Yes. And so maybe he can't flap his wings because that would re-injure them. But maybe he can still use his wings a little bit to possibly guide the airplane. Or he could just grab onto the wings of the plane and pull upwards to redirect its flight. I don't know.
Or maybe he starts just making really weird, sophisticated airplanes. Like he just gets really into it and makes some really complicated paper airplanes.
Oh, so he can like attach a rubber band and a popsicle stick to the front of it and twist it around a whole bunch so he creates a propeller.
Yeah, he just starts doing wacky things like that.
Yeah, this way because paper airplanes can't generally, fly upwards, but this way he could actually find a way to actually get the paper airplane to start flying upwards. If he starts gliding and he needs to get some air, he just releases the popsicle stick and it starts propelling him forward.
Now we add in like the human element, like the person. So like a kid who, I'm taking this based off of a paper airplane movie I once watched. But there's like a paper airplane competition, and so you can gain a scholarship for it for like who has the best paper airplane.
What?
And now it's a thing. This is a movie. It was a pretty good movie if I remember correctly. It's kind of foggy because it's been a while, but it's a paper airplane movie. And so now you have like a kid who's entered into a paper airplane competition, but his paper airplanes are no good, but the birds are really good. And now we have Ratatouille, but it's a bird and it's paper airplanes.
Yes.
And he's not controlling the kid by pulling his hair.
So is this a situation where, I guess, the kid wants to make good paper airplanes?
Or needs to for some reason.
Okay, so I'm gonna say some bullies challenged him to a paper airplane competition, and if he loses, what's a good consequence for the kid losing the paper airplane competition? What is he betting here?
Maybe he's doing it for a friend. Because I feel like that always raises the stake for a person when they're doing it for someone else. So like he's doing this battle, and he's agreed to do a paper airplane battle. If he wins, they're gonna stop bullying his friend, whatever they were doing. But if he loses, he's gonna lose some like rare item that he has that has a lot of sentimental value to him. You know, usually an item that belongs to a dead parent.
So
tends to be the
pocket
thing.
watch.
Yeah?
Father's pocket watch. Maybe ingrained with some initials.
Maybe with a picture of him on the side with like his mom or something when they were young, with like him as a baby.
This is getting to be more and more something that's kind of odd that the bullies would want. Unless it's like made of gold, then maybe. But also, would the kid really be willing to bet the watch something of this value to try and help his friend out, or would he try and bet something of lower value?
This almost seems like it's more of person trying to take away like his home or something, and he has to make a deal with them, and it involves battling his son in a paper airplane fight.
That's a really weird.
Like there's an adult. There's adults involved.
There's some adults involved where the adults are saying, the bank's gonna come and take your home, but if your son can beat my son in a paper airplane competition, then I will let you off the hook.
Maybe we have to like increase the weird, like the magicalness of the theme of this world. Pixar worlds always have like a weird thing going for them, and if paper airplanes are just a really big deal in this area, and like competitions around them and being able to fold them, and like as a sense of pride, and people can make money off of paper airplanes, then maybe they could justify.
Yeah, I think we might need to just lean into the paper airplanes thing.
And then it makes more sense why the bird would get
Yes.
into it, because he lives in a culture and society where everyone's into it.
But we'll say that the birds, we're really going Ratatouille here. So we'll say that the birds are highly against paper airplanes. And one of the reasons is because of a pride thing where they say, we are birds. We fly above paper airplanes. Paper airplanes are humans' toys trying to imitate bird flight. They can never achieve what we have naturally. And then they constantly mock the paper airplanes. They think they're really dumb. So then when this bird grabs a hold of a paper airplane and starts using it, he has to keep it a secret because it's such a disgrace for a bird to be reduced to a paper airplane. More disgraceful than the bird not being able to fly at all. Maybe he's a secret that his family keeps from the world, because having a bird that can't fly in your family is a disgrace.
And he just has one friend who happened to find out about him, like when he was sneaking out doing something, and now they're like best friends.
Yeah, maybe the friend was with him when he got injured, and so he's one of the few people that knows that about his injury. And then one day they just went out on top of the roof, and he's watching the paper airplanes fly. One lands on the roof, and he's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. And then he flies off and into a tree. And then he has to go and test again. And the next time, he makes it even further right into a fountain.
And at some point during his, like, testings, the boy notices it and starts observing it and realizing what this bird's able to do and that's better. And then, so here's the kick of it. The bird has all of these cool airplane ideas, but it is a bird. You know who has thumbs? The kid has thumbs.
The kid also has access to a bunch of crafting supplies. So if he wants to make something like attach a propeller to the front of it, the bird has the know-how. It's just that the kid needs to bring all the supplies, and the bird is just sitting there teaching him how to make the perfect paper airplane.
Yeah, it's a good partnership.
And now, what would this all build up to? So we would, of course, have to be building up to like that final paper airplane competition, which I think we still need to figure out what the competition is for exactly. But
yeah.
It's building up to that big paper airplane competition. What happens during?
There's got to be like a moral conflict, because usually at this point, the kid has to make a choice between like, unless the competition is like a very important thing, like he needs money. But if it's just like a pride thing, or trying to prove something, he now has to be faced with the choice of like winning this competition or helping his bird friend out.
Yeah, and maybe, or it could also be the bird that has to choose between helping his friend win the competition and something else. I feel like there should be a lot more conflict with the bird, given this whole you can't fly, you're such a disgrace thing. Maybe it's he needs to end up flying.
Wait. Okay, so what if, okay, so the bird, what if there's like a big race that the birds do, right? And this race happens to be during like the same day as this kid's competition that he needs either to win the house or get a scholarship or something big. And the bird has used the person to make this paper airplane for his race, when the kid thinks, because maybe they can't actually talk, it's like a proper Ratatouille situation. Well, the kid thinks that this plane is going to be used for his to like save whatever he needs to be saved. And now the bird has to make a choice between using the paper airplane to fly in a race and prove to his family he's not a disgrace and he can fly, and paper airplanes are how he does it, because the race would prove that. Or in making sure his friend gets the thing that he needs by winning the race with the paper airplane.
Yeah, I think that definitely could work. I'm just wondering, is there enough tension in there is there enough conflict that can't really be easily resolved there? Because he could say maybe he wanted to like push back the race or something, or when he goes and chooses one, like he goes and chooses to help his friend, then does he go and fly it? Or maybe when he goes to help his friend, that's how the other birds can see that he can in fact fly. But also that feels too easy.
I mean, Pixar movies occasionally have that, or at least Disney movies do, where, you know, it's a pretty cheesy thing. Like he decides, you know what, I'm not gonna do the race, I'm gonna help my friend instead. Goes and helps the kid, gives him back the airplane. He gets to race. He helps him win the thing, and his family, who I guess had been looking for him or something because he's gone missing so many times and they're worried because he can't fly, come down and catch him doing this and actually flying using the paper airplane. And they're like, "Oh, cool."
You know, I think that maybe the parents should actually find out about it sooner, because then we get some more like mid story conflict, and we could even get a situation where his dad comes in very angry at this, because it's, how dare you disgrace our family name, and maybe he even tears up the paper and destroys it, or maybe he even destroys the airplane that they were going to use.
Or we could have like a really tragic moment, because this is Pixar, they'll do that, where the parents like sabotage his relationship with the kid by like attacking him or something, or going full bird on the kid to try to make it so the kid's scared of him, and then they have to have a moment of him trying to excuse his parents with like a communication barrier.
Yeah, and there can also be a problem where maybe they destroy it, and then the kid shows up and thinks that the bird has destroyed it.
Oh.
And then he feels betrayed.
And the bird can't tell him otherwise because it's a bird.
Yes. And then the kid just runs off crying, and then the storm comes, and sad music starts playing as it's raining.
Bird gets in danger, kid has to help bird again. and they're reunited and they start building another
Bird gets
one.
in danger. Bird gets captured by Bully because Bully saw that the bird was helping him and said, "This bird is my key to victory," and then starts trying to force the bird to make him a new paper airplane. And
yeah, but of course Bird's not gonna comply.
And then maybe this is where they could get a new paper airplane. As he goes and he builds the same one that they had before with the Bully's materials, and then he uses it to escape, and he flies away with the paper airplane, and to meet his friend. And then when they go to the race competition thing, that's where the Bully is like, "Hey, that's my paper airplane," and then nobody believes him.
Or worse, they do, because it is made out of his materials, and he might have a way to identify it because it's used with his materials. Yeah, I don't know where you'd go if they could identify and they believed him. But it could be a third act tension.
Yeah, we definitely need tension and conflict in this story.
I mean, that could be a point. Actually, that could be an interesting, like, they believe him, so now he actually has to build the airplane in front of him, but he can't build it without the help of the bird. But the bird's off with that race, so the kid's, like, calling for the bird to help him build in front of people, because he needs to prove that it's his airplane design, but he needs the bird's help. And so the bird has to make the choice of, like, do I race, or do I go and help him build another airplane so he can prove that it is his plane design.
Oh, yes.
One.
And we can have a scene where he's trying to build it without the bird, and he can't. And he looks up at the building where the bird lives. Very sad, as you can just see in his eyes that he's begging for help. And the bird is like, "Oh no, I can't go help him because I can't fly down. All my plane stuff has been destroyed." But then he goes and he grabs the scraps and he assembles them together to build a very small, very rickety paper airplane that can barely fly. And then he glides down on a very shaky plane, struggling to control it. Has a crash landing over by him, but he's fine. He walks it off. And then the kid's like, "This is my construction partner. This is my friend. He's going to help me make the airplane." Then they make it together. And then the bird flies the paper airplane for the competition. And then this is maybe where the other birds go and they see, "Oh, he can actually fly really well with this paper airplane. Maybe paper airplanes aren't that bad." And they see that the human has helped him do it. And they're like, "Oh, maybe humans aren't as dumb as we thought."
Or as bad as we thought. Maybe it's okay to have human friends.
Maybe they aren't a bunch of lowlifes who have no wings.
Yeah. We still don't know why this competition
No,
is
we gotta
happening,
figure
though.
out why this competition is even happening. So
Like, what?
clearly there are adults involved.
And I think the bully aspect is kind of now important in order to have, like, the kidnapping and the... I mean, I guess you could have adults do it, too. Like, a kidnap.
Yeah, you could have the bully's dad do it.
Yeah, but I think it makes more sense for, like, the bully to be the one doing it. And you have just adults refereeing who are a bit more impartial.
Yeah.
And therefore can be swayed either side, depending, like there's got to be a justice person who's gonna pick the side that seems right, so that way we can, or else there's no tension. Like, if you know they're gonna pick one side or the other, what's the point?
Well, I don't think there's really any denying when the kid goes and he builds the paper airplane in front of them.
True.
I think that we need to lean into the idea of this is a society that adores paper airplanes. And we have to somehow take that
Yes.
and bring in the competition from that aspect of the world. Maybe paper airplanes is a sport.
Okay, that
Maybe
would make
they
sense.
have courses where you're supposed to fly your paper airplane through them, where it's just like, oh, you have to angle the wings such a way to like make them do loop-de-loops through some rings and stuff before they land in a designated spot. So there's like some serious paper airplane crafting going on here.
And it's an animated movie, so we can do that. So I'm gonna assume the dad the dad of the bully runs a elite paper airplane making team. So his son feels pretty high and mighty and is like, the type of person who thinks he's gonna get on the team.
Yes, I like that idea.
And maybe there's only one spot left on the team. And the team comes with this huge scholarship to a school that would change the kid's life if he got in, because there's no other way he could get into it unless it's through the paper airplane team. And for that reason, it's a really big deal. But he has to go against the bully, and one of the judges is, of course, his father. So, like, there's a lot of pressure involved. But at the end of the day, it makes sense that the father would end up going with the other kid because he values the team. It may be a little bit more than his son, because they tend to do that. And then you feel a little bit of pity for the son. Because a little pity for the bully isn't always, it's usually something that's found in Pixar movies.
Now, I'm thinking that during the competition, I think maybe we should figure out why they allow the kid to have a bird flying his paper airplane, because it seems like cheating. What would the conversation be to make this something that's allowed?
So I think what happens is that it's so it starts out like the paper airplane's good enough without the bird, but then comes the like, oh, did they build it or not? And then they watched him build it with the bird, and he's like, the bird can also fly it, and shows that off. And then they're like, that's a cool new trick that would be really useful for the team, is to have a highly trained bird involved in everything. And that gives him this huge edge in the competition. It lets him win. Like, he joins the team because the bird joins the team.
What if there are other birds out there that have injuries where they can't fly, and by the end of the movie, they all come out of hiding because they see that they are able to use paper airplanes to fly, and they are no longer a disgrace to their families.
And now they can join the teams, and like other teams have like those friends flying with the paper airplanes, and maybe even some birds that can fly like join the teams and stuff because it's cool.
I love this idea.
Yeah, so now you just have birds joining in the paper airplane competitions at the end of the movie. Like, it's now a human and bird event. They've completely changed the game. They added a new animal in
I just thought about something. Birds don't like humans. They see them as quite literally beneath them. How do humans view birds?
Is it like just... I think there's an admiration towards them just because of their obsession with like paper airplanes and learning from birds how to fly. So I think there's a respect to the birds, and I think that also kind of helps the kid out and like people accepting the bird's role a bit more, because if they hate that's like one of my biggest things with Luca is like they all hate sea monsters, and then in the movie they meet two sea monsters and they're like, oh yeah, no, you know what, maybe sea monsters are fine. It's a lot harder to make a smooth transition from like hating a thing to liking them, especially when both sides dislike each other. But when you have a side that actually thinks, oh, birds are fascinating and useful for studying for paper airplanes, or they're a bit more neutral, I guess.
We could have a situation where after they build all these paper airplanes, eventually the bird and the human boy, they go to school and everything, and they work to build the first full-sized airplane. They are this world's Wright brothers.
That honestly sounds like a fun like end credits scene. When the end credits go and they have like snapshots of future pictures and stuff going through them. I could see that being like a progression, like they're winning awards at competitions, all that stuff, and then you have the older one and they're in the airplane together flying off and stuff. Could be like the final big picture is him in a
the bird airplane. Also needs to get like a little leather helmet and goggles. Because it would be so cute.
Yeah, it would.
Probably made by the human.
It's like a little present.
Yes.
You're gonna fly these. You should probably. He probably sees them crashing so much. He's like, you know what you need? You need a little helmet.
Yes. And he's like, and I'm sure the wind is getting in your eyes, making it a little harder to see things. So here's some goggles.
Yeah. That sounds cute. I was about to say get him a little jacket, but I don't think that would work very well for a sparrow. It's a little small for that.
Probably not, but I wouldn't mind it anyway. Where else do we go with this? Because we're only 30 minutes in. Not even that.
Yeah, but I don't think there really is anywhere else to go with it.
Yeah, we just made the next Pixar movie. Do we want to lean into the paper airplane world a little bit more?
Well, I think it's just a world where it's a really big sport.
I guess so.
It's just soccer, like the equivalent to soccer or football in America.
Yeah, it's just paper airplanes are a sport, and the world is without real airplanes, and that's why they admire the birds so much.
Yeah, and now this kid gets to work with the birds to make a really cool paper airplane that gets him a scholarship into a really nice school that allows him to get the training he needs to eventually, between that and the brains of the bird and him combined, they make their own real airplane.
Yeah. I like this. We just made the next Pixar movie. And I think we did a better job than modern day Pixar will ever do.
And we did it in under 30 minutes.
Yes. Like, clearly it might need a little bit of polishing up. You gotta add in a bunch of stuff in between the scenes and everything. But the core
you got
concept...
character dynamics and scripts, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully Pixar improves soon.
Yeah, the next one sounds kind of cute. It's a little boy getting abducted by aliens.
Yeah, that seems like a fun idea.
It does. It intrigues me. Enough that I'd go out and watch that one. Unlike Elemental, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we get to end there.
Yes.
All right, then I guess that's what we'll do.
Bye.
We'll be back. Yeah, well, we'll be back next week with another prompt and another world to build. So see you guys then. Bye.